All right. All right. I think we can probably get started. We've got a full full agenda. Also, welcome everybody. It's great to see you all. Uh, and I am Mary Pridley. Sorry, I don't know what I was about to say, but I realized I should probably just introduce myself. Um, and this is now the second gathering of our June gatherings. We kicked off last night and it was a ton of fun. So I expect, no pressure, but I expect the same today. Sorry, I don't want to be prescriptive. Anyway, for those of you who may be new or have never heard of me, I am very honored to be the coordinator of Reimagining Dementia, a creative coalition for justice. This is our member gathering. I assume this is where you all want to be today. And thank you, because I know your lives are very busy. And this is now, I think, our fourth series of meetings since we started in September. We are about 9 months old now. And it is just, I don't know about you all, and many of you have been to one or more. I just find them incredibly, incredibly inspiring. I mean, this is so much heart and energy and creativity and passion and people just wanting there to be something different and, wanting to be in a space where, different kinds of people can come together and, create something new together. Because there's just not enough new in the world. I was thinking about that. I mean, we just regurgitate the same things. But actually, maybe if folks, I don't know off the top of my head, but for whom is this your first gathering? Just raise your hand. Okay, wonderful. So we will be, oh yes, we will be telling you a little bit more about the coalition and kind of where we are and where we're going. But just a fact, we do continue to grow. We have about 526 members now from about 26 different countries. And as I was saying last night, what's really wonderful is, people are just hearing about it in a lot of different places. Most of whom don't quite remember where, but, they think it's an email or a tweet or, they've read an article, and including the article that Pia will be talking more about. And it's just, which I think is really great. They're hearing about it from friends and colleagues and members who are involved. And it's just, it's for those who are joining, it's clearly hitting a nerve. And that's just, deep gratifying. And so mostly I take that to mean, please continue letting people know about it, sharing on social media, just whatever ways you can do, large or small, because there are folks out there who are really, I think, desperate to do some reimagining. And even if it's not for dementia, there's a lot of things that need reimagining. We're not suffering from a lack. And as I said, I'm going to turn things over in a minute to Pia Contos to talk about, where we are, what we're looking at, how we're looking ahead, what we hope to be doing over the next many months, and the role, obviously. And this is something that all of us are going to be creating together. We are not handing you a set blueprint and saying, okay, you can either vote it up or down. Obviously, we have put in some work and kind of thinking about what we think might make sense based on everything we've learned from all of you over the last many months. But really, we're kind of continuing to create, if you will, the path as we walk it. And that, to me, is what's kind of fun and exciting about this. And just before I turn it over to Pia, I just was thinking the other day about, and all of us do, but I was thinking about why I love play, the arts, improvisation, and that whole range of human activities. But one of the reasons I was thinking, given the world that we're in, is because I think play and performance and improvisation, the art, just coming together and playing together, we just so much more easily let go of assumptions. The assumptions we have of each other, they're not relevant. Our kind of who we think we are, those kind of restrictions, they're just not, they don't have a place. It's not that they're not there in the world, but you can play with them, and just get to know each other in some new ways. You don't have to, we can kind of create ourselves and create whatever it is we want to be doing. And I was talking to actually a friend and a member who's living with dementia a couple of days ago. And one of the things he said, which kind of struck me, he says, and he was being enormously respectful of these organizations. This was not a critique. He said, but there are a lot of organizations that do a very good job at kind of spreading the message and letting people living with dementia know that they can live their best lives, which obviously and I think I speak for everyone here, we would all agree to and support. But then he said, however, and he was in that way, he was speaking about the coalition and kind of riffing off that. He said, but he said that there weren't a lot of organizations that tell us how to do that and show us some ways to do that and give us, if you will, the support to do that. And I think that's a big deal, because I think it's hard to create your best life. I mean, I don't think any of us, exactly have what we need to do that. So I don't know. I just said that for me, that's just another inspiration for why I think the work of the coalition and what you all are all doing is just so important, because it's just, we're offering at least people a shot at living our best lives without having to know exactly what that's going to look like, and just coming together and being able to free to break out of some labels and scripts and go to some new places. So that's really what we're going to be doing, continuing to do today. Whatever that looks like is whatever we create together. But why don't I bring up now, and actually, I'm not going to make the same mistake again. I'm not going to introduce Pia quite yet, but I will, I promise. Now I'm going to bring up, because as we always do for folks who've been here and for those who haven't, what we always start off each meeting with a group kind of exercise, and in part because it's just a way to kind of get the juices flowing and get out of ourselves a little bit and start our day, which for some people is very early still. And to just appreciate each other and kind of just see who's coming together, who's out there, who's doing some things that perhaps, just make us a little less isolated and lonely and more connected. So I'm going to ask Jennifer Hicks to lead us. And Jennifer, just so you know, I guess, Jennifer, we've gotten to know each other over the last few months. She's just formally, she's a creative movement instructor. She runs a private practice in speech and language pathology. She works with a number of organizations, including the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto and the Big 12 Method. I think anyone who has her is lucky to have her. She also, with Robin Gurton, co-founded Good Conversations. And if you haven't seen and maybe Robin or Jennifer, you can put a link in the chat, but they have great conversations together that are just delightful. So I think at least when I watch them, it's another way to kind of do something, another way to realize that we can connect with another human being in some very playful and intimate ways. So watch them. But as I said, we've known each other for a couple months, but I think I can safely say the connection was instant. We kind of have a mutual fan club. And so I am thrilled that she was able to join us today. So Jennifer, take it away. We can't hear you, but you're not muted.
I just switched my mic. Sorry about that. I'm here in Toronto where it's muggy and hot, but I've got my water and ready. So everyone, what I'd like us to start with is we'll use the chat function, and I'd like you to type two things in the chat. So one is a musical instrument, any musical instrument. The second is a body part. And we'll use, most body parts, but not all body parts are fair game. So you're going to just type in the name of a musical instrument and a body part. So you can go ahead and do that. Okay, great. Now we're going to use our bodies and our music makers, our voices, our mouths, and we're going to choose two of those. So the first one that I see, thank you, Holly, is banjo and knee. So you're going to use your knee to play the banjo. I don't care how you do it. You're going to use your knee to play the banjo, and together we're going to all unmute and make a banjo sound, whatever that is to you. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. We go cello and fingers. You're going to use your fingers somehow to play the cello and make some music. 3, 2, 1. Okay, here's one for you. How are we going to do this? We're going to play the flute with our earlobe.
Of course.
All right, now you're gonna, thank you, Josephine. You're gonna play the piano with your nose. Okay, the ukulele, the little ding, 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 with your eyes.
No.
A good one. This is a good one. So use your eyes to play the ukulele. 3, 2, 1. One more, everybody. One more. We're going to play the violin with your big toe.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. I'm getting ready.
Round of applause. Now give yourself a big pat on the back. All right, thank you. Thank you for playing along.
Okay. Okay. All right, now to bring to another performance stage. Actually, I know many of you know her and love her. And so I'm going to turn things over to Pia Cantos, who her professional accomplishments are many. We don't have enough time to list them all. But for me, I think Pia has just been a true, just beating heart of this coalition. And I think she just brings such enormous, credibility, responsibility, accomplishments, passion, creativity, and just a relentless she's my kind of person because she just keeps she's a doer and she'll just, we're going to make things happen. And that to me is the highest praise possibly ever. So with that, Pia, take it away.
Thank you, Mary. What a lovely introduction. I have to chuckle to myself always after these warm-up exercises because I tell my kids, I'm in a meeting, please don't disturb me. And they come bounding down the stairs. What is going on? Is that your meeting? And I think I've lost all credibility that I actually have a job.
That's right.
So now you've come to be known as the fun group. Are you meeting with the fun group today? So anyway, very, very enjoyable. So I'm delighted to share with you all just a brief overview of where we are as a coalition and some of the behind the scenes work that's been involved that you might not be aware of, and the thoughts of the planning group regarding next steps. So as Mary said, over the last 9 months, we have seen the launch of this coalition, and we've got it up and running. And given our commitment to inclusivity and authentic partnerships with people living with dementia, our priority has been to bring our members together so that we can all start to get to know each other and to collectively explore where we wish to go with this coalition. As you know, we've hosted a good number of membership gatherings. We're up to 10 with yesterday's, and we've got 2 more today and on Thursday. And these gatherings have been really well attended by our members and have provided, I think, a really important opportunity for us to all come together to explore what reimagining dementia means to us all, and collectively, you know, what we wish to accomplish with the coalition. There has been a lot of work involved behind the scenes to support all of these gatherings and their progression. Our planning group has been meeting every Friday since March last year and has been instrumental in organizing and running these larger gatherings. At our planning meetings, I think we've come up with some really creative ways to facilitate these larger gatherings. We always record them, and then we review these recordings, create summaries of the recordings, which in turn inform subsequent discussions and the planning of subsequent gatherings. We've had the opportunity to respond to media requests for interviews about the coalition. We've given a good number of presentations at various organizations about the coalition. And more recently, we published an article in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease about the coalition. And this was co-authored by many of our members, for the broader membership of the coalition. I'm really, really proud of that piece. And I think it's an important way to amplify the message of the coalition. So I'm going to put a link to the article if you haven't seen it yet in the chat. And if you could, I mean, please do read it and share it widely. So with all of this work, I really want to extend a huge thank you to Mary Fridley, who's assumed the responsibilities of so many of the centralized activities of the coalition, like, you know, managing all of the correspondence with the members, reaching out to new members, providing detailed instruction regarding dates and times and links for the gatherings, coordinating IT support. I mean, it's just been a huge amount of work, and I don't think, well, I know we wouldn't be where we are were it not for all of that work that she's done. So Mary, thank you. And of course, a huge thank you goes to all of the other members of the planning group who have provided strategic support by stepping up to assume responsibilities for many of the activities that I've mentioned here. So we've done a lot in the past 9 months, and you know, I wanted to acknowledge that and to celebrate those accomplishments. We did feel after our last gatherings in March, we should take pause to reflect on where we are and you know, where we hope to go with this work. We also recognize that, you know, our planning group has got us here, but we can't do this alone. And really, this wasn't ever our vision. You know, it was to forge alliances and through partnerships to achieve real change. So we really need to engage more of our members to take us to that next level. So to this end, we thought that a campaign that we collectively contribute to would serve to influence the kind of change that we're advocating and would help us to, you know, to amplify the key messages of the coalition, which we've been exploring together over the past 9 months. and taking creative inspiration from the 1-minute show and tells that we shared in our gatherings in March. I don't know how many of you were a part of those gatherings, but they were just wonderful, so creative, many of which were songs and poetry. So we're taking creative inspiration from that, and to think and drew on that to think about how a song could be central to this campaign, a song that we collectively compose and that we collectively sing. So I'm not going to say any more about that. The details will be provided by others, but I just wanted to say that this is the central activity for these June gatherings, and I'm really excited to see what we can create together. So I'm going to stop there. I will put the link to the article in the chat, and do hope that you all share that widely. So back over to you, Mary.
Mary, you're
You're on
muted.
mute.
God, and it was brilliant too. And so I'm going to bring up there's three women who really have, and together with many members and all of us on the planning committee, but they really have kind of taken this project and run with it, kind of in terms of kind of creating an initial, I don't know, they'll discuss it. They'll tell you what they're doing. Doesn't matter. And maybe Holly, Taylor, and Robin, maybe you can just introduce yourselves very briefly when you come on, and it won't waste the time introducing you. So let's bring up Holly Marlin, Robin Gurton, and Taylor Kurta.
Thanks, Mary. I think, shall I start off, ladies, with a bit of context about where we're up to? So thank you so much. It's lovely to see everybody today. And I feel really blessed to be part of the fun group. As we are the fun group. This has felt like almost like a battery recharging station for me. I'm a freelance musician. I'm based in the UK. I'm so passionate about using my music in health and social care settings. And over the last few years, I've been working specifically with people who are living with the diagnosis of dementia, and really seeing, the joy and creativity that these people bring to my life, to my world. So it's been really lovely to feel connected to this amazing fun group. One of the members yesterday in yesterday's meeting said that we were a mutually beneficial web of interconnectedness. That sounds very grand and almost Spider-Man with the web, but I loved this idea of us being part of this incredible web. And together we've weaved a web of ideas throughout the members' meetings. As Pia said, it's been such a rich resource of ideas, creativity. And what we've been doing in the process of thinking about a song, a coalition song or anthem, we've looked at all the words that were shared during those meetings. We've looked at listened to recordings, referred to the notes, and like a fine whiskey, we've tried to distill those ideas into something that we could have as a starting point for the co-creation of this new song. So I'm just going to try and do a screen share very briefly, because I wanted to just recap on some incredible word clouds that came out of the members' meetings. So I hope you can see this. Can everybody see?
Yeah.
Thumbs up. I can see nodding. So we collated words that were spoken during the meetings, and I'm just going to let you look at them for just a few seconds each and just find a word that you're drawn to. Just absorb and let your eyes lead you to a particular word. So this is the second one. And this is the third one. So you can see there are some beautiful words. I'm just going to show you the lyrics now. So out of those words, out of those ideas, we try to distill some key concepts. So we created what's called a hook. So we all know, Jenny was saying yesterday, "We Will Rock You," for instance, is a really recognizable hook. We will rock you. So we've tried to come up with a hook. It's a new day. It's a new way. Let's reimagine. And then it goes on, it's a bold day, let's create a world where everyone can thrive. A together day where the joy of one is the joy of all alive. It's a fearless day, it's a hopeful way, let's reimagine. So I'm going to hand over to Taylor, who's going to play the song for us and give us a bit of an idea of what we might do with the song.
Okay,
Um,
I am gonna play it from my computer. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Let me get it up here. And we should mention too that the person who came up with the music behind this song is Simon Law, who's an incredible musician, a Grammy award-winning artist, and we're very, very lucky to have him on board with helping us create this song. So I'm going to play it now, and keeping in mind that nothing is sort of static here, and we have this vision of including different voices on this song. So you're going to hear it with our voices, but so you can get a sort of an idea of what it would sound like. But at the end of it, we would like to include many voices on it. So I will play it for you all now. It's a new day. It's a new. It's a new day. It's a new way. Let's reimagine. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new day. It's a new way. Let's reimagine. It's a bold day. Let's create a world where everyone can thrive. A together day where the joy of one is the joy of all alive. It's a fearless day. It's a hopeful way. Let's reimagine. It's a fearless day. It's a hopeful way. Let's reimagine. It's a fearless way. It's a hopeful way. Let's reimagine. It's a fearless way. It's a hopeful way. Let's reimagine. It was nice to see some of you grooving out there. I'm going to hand it over to Robin, who's going to explain more about where we're going with this song and how we're going to work on it today.
Muted.
There we go. Good morning, everybody. Wasn't that fun? So proud of that. First of all, Taylor, come on back for 1 second. You were very modest. We just want to get your credentials. Come on back and tell us who you are.
I'm back. Hi, I'm Taylor Kurta. I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm a music therapist, and I'm a PhD student at the University of Waterloo in recreation and leisure studies, with Sherry Dupuis as my supervisor, who's on here today. And my research focuses on using collaborative songwriting with people living with dementia to challenge stigma associated with dementia. And I'm on this journey right now of sort of recognizing how my role in medicalizing music therapy in long-term care, and my role in that in perpetuating stigma. So I'm on this journey of sort of recognizing that within myself and using critical thinking and critical theory to sort of reimagine what music and the arts might look like in long-term care. So that is me, and it's nice to see all of you.
Thank you, Taylor. My name's Robin, and I'm an expressive art therapist based in Toronto. I work at the Beethoven Method, which is a virtual live day program offering arts-based programming for people living with dementia and their care partners. And also, as Mary kindly referenced, I'm the co-creator with Jen Hicks of an on-demand series of videos that's like a talk show with arts-based programming called The Good Conversation. So please check us out. So where we are now is that we are continuing the collaborative process. So today, what we're looking for is I believe, Mary, is it 3 or 4 breakout groups? Four breakout groups. So you're going to be with myself, Taylor, Holly, and is it Casey today,
Casey.
Mary? Okay.
Yeah, Casey.
So we're going to be leading some breakout groups, and what we are doing is trying to get your thoughts, your observations, your experience, your lived experience from a personal, community, global perspective, what you want and what you're looking for with reimagining dementia, what you want the world to know. We're going to be scribing busily all of your thoughts, and then our smaller group will continue the whiskey distilling, eh, Holly? We were going to take all of that collaboration and create lyrics for what will become verses for this song. I should say also that after we do the breakout groups, we'll come back and do a sharing so everyone can hear what the other groups came up with. And there will be a lot more to come for the music campaign, including a video, spoken word editions, pictures, and we're hoping everyone will make it their own version of this song with dancing, etc. So I think, Mary, we may be ready.
Yeah, okay. All right, is everyone back? I think so. All right. So for someone that's joining us, we are now about to hear a report out from the 3 groups, after which we will open it up, use the remaining time, however long that is, kind of open it up for just a kind of more general, broader conversation about the campaign, the song, thoughts that you all might have. So why don't we bring whatever group wants to report out first, and then claim your space and let's get started. Who wants to go first? Should I just? Why doesn't group 1 go?
Was that us? We were group 1, were we? Everyone in group 1, can you give me a finger wiggle so I can
Yes,
see
we were.
see where you are on the screen? We had an amazing conversation, and I think the word for me, I'm going to try and summarize what we talked about, but it was about equity. So I'm just going to sort of share this thought with you. So equity. So it's us, not just me or you, carer or cared for. We find our ebb and flow, our equity, our movement, our friendship. Every relationship has its own movement. We all make mistakes. Forgive. Remove the fear and stigma. Give each other permission to live. Give me my permission to live, and I'll give you your permission to live. Just breathe. Be grateful. Live well. So that's a sort of my distillation, but guys who are in the group with me, lovely people, anyone want to react or respond or add? Is that okay? We had such it was a deep conversation with people who are living with a diagnosis of dementia, with people who are supporting people who are living with dementia. But this idea of equity, which I think that's really struck me today, it's not that I haven't thought that before, but I've thought about it much more clearly. This seesaw that we're on, this ebb and flow, this journey that we're on. So thank you. I just want to thank my group so much.
Seeing the
word
person we
friendship
talked about.
is a really
friendship.
strong one for me.
Mhm.
Friendship.
Yep.
Yeah. Our friendship.
Seeing the person.
Seeing each other.
Seeing each other. Yep. Exactly.
We too often talk about the person living with dementia as another. It's a other identity. We're here together. And this
Mhm.
this coalition is about as well, these friendships. Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
All righty, group 2.
I think that's us. Is that a group 2? Can you also, so I can see you? Yes, we had so many sensitive contributions. So jump in, guys, if I missed something. But we were talking about the privilege of being present and in the moment in dementia, that it can actually be a gift because there's a different energy. There's a sense of possibility and play when dementia enters our lives. We can be fully alive. It is not an other. It is unique. We are unique, and we are also all the same. A great deal of listening and thinking necessary. And there is real joy to be found. We want people to know that sensitivity and inclusiveness is valued. We want people to talk more and not be afraid. We want to encourage people to be touched and moved, and that creativity is for everyone and can be a great bridge to connection. And that creativity can be heightened, and that it is okay. Did we catch it all, guys?
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
and you recited it beautifully. Thank
Mm.
you.
All right, group 3.
I'm also gonna. I'm gonna ask for some finger wiggles here. That is absolutely a term I'm gonna adopt into my everyday vocabulary. Holly, thank you. Group 3, would you give us some finger wiggles? It was just I cannot imagine better folks to spend 25 minutes of my day with. I learn. Feel like I've done a day's worth of learning in the last hour. It's incredible.
Stacey, you're frozen.
Am I here?
You're back.
You
Okay,
are back.
good. Well,
wish-
I was. It's. I obviously. I can empathize now with the privilege of presence. It seemed like I was not present there for a moment, but I'm going to share a very brief poem distillation of our thoughts, and then open it up for anyone else to add with their reflections and reverberations within themselves. It's just a word, not them, they, those, us, equally alive and equally valued, equally loud and lifting the silence and laying on the love. Circular and connected communities co-create the puzzle, nested together and rocked by the delight of difference, not hushed, but rushed in our march to joy. It's just a word, not for, with.
Yeah.
But I would love if for group 3, anyone, what stood out to you from our conversation?
I think there was a synergy in the room or in the virtual room in terms of how we all had very similar ideas that really built on each other. And we saw people like David finishing other sentences because there was such a synergy. So it was really cool how that happened.
Yeah, great unity in the cause.
And also, Sherry, the anger, which is an important part of the conversation, you know, the urgency to change, and that anger that, you know, we shouldn't lose sight of as well. But yeah, Casey absolutely nailed it in the poem.
Right. It's a completion. We did a completion of each other in that.
All right. All right. Last but not least, group 4.
That is our group. So what I'm going to do is just read some of the lines that really stood out to me in our conversation. So none of these are in order and might not have a rhyme or reason, but that's okay. That's the beauty of songwriting. Being included in the community, not talked with, not at. We are isolating and segregating. Let's be visible. Let's be human. How can our worlds meet? We need to challenge the harm of separating, segregating, and confining. Reimagining is recognizing differences, making space for that. Let's embed the social model into legislation. There's so many things. We need to change the language. All experiences are meaningful. Change the narrative. Don't judge. Say yes, and we can have fun. We can live in the moment. Let's release expectations. We just need to be. Living with dementia can be beautiful, fun, and interesting. Living with dementia does not come a loss of self. There is not a loss of person. We need to shift. With dementia comes creativity, wit, humor, and creation. This should not be seen as remarkable, but unremarkable. It's the tragedy discourse that makes us surprised when we see creativity. Was there anything that I missed, group 4? Was there anything that really stood out to our conversation that I might not have gotten in this brief summary?
I think that was great. I think you covered it all. Thank
Awesome.
you.
All right. So we have about 15 minutes. Let's just open it up since we're a relatively, intimate group. I mean, one of the things I was saying yesterday was that one of the impetus for doing this and moving in this direction has been a conversation that we've been having in the coalition for a while, which is how to go to people where they are. Because obviously over the last 9 months, in a way, we've been inviting people to join us, and we will continue to, and we'll continue to have these centralized gatherings. However, from a kind of a building the coalition vantage point, it's a limited model, I think, for many reasons. So really what we want to design this campaign to be is one as involving of everybody as we can to reach and involve many communities who aren't viewed as the face of the dementia conversation, LGBTQ community, communities of color, ethnic communities in countries around the world. So there is, as I think Holly or one of you all was saying earlier, what this becomes obviously is still very much a work in progress. However, the design is, it will work if we all take it on and carry it out and take it out and move it out in whatever ways we can. And one of the things I feel strongly about is one of the reasons for this campaign is to introduce reimagining dementia to the world. Certainly that includes the coalition, but the coalition really is kind of the vehicle. I want people to at least entertain the notion that, oh, we can reimagine dementia. There's some, and furthermore, it's now an international conversation that's taking place that's elevating and trying to use our kind of collective and collaborative resources to really elevate the work of so many people who have come before us. I mean, we're not reinventing the wheel. We have no interest in there's much wonderful work out there, but I do think the creative voices in the dementia movement, broadly speaking, I I think we're less than fully a part of the conversation. And I think we need to keep pushing our way into it and demanding that, you know, we be heard in the way that others are being heard in this conversation. And so really, as I said to folks last night, I'm relating to everyone as kind of a part of the campaign, that you will take it out, but I don't care. It's something that you can give to your families. You can share it with 3 friends. You can share it to your institutions. You can share it in your organizations. It really doesn't matter. You can share it with 3 strangers because this is something they're interested in. So it is hopefully to continue giving us what we need to continue reaching out at a very grassroots level. Certainly we want to reach the people who are already, if you will, thinking about this, but we also want to reach the people who have never given a thought in the world to what we're talking about today. So I want to open up just to hear from folks about both what this experience was, how you could see using this, any other thoughts that you might have coming out of the small groups, but let's just open it up and take the next few minutes to just chat amongst ourselves.
So I'll go.
Okay.
I think it's really important for people without a dementia diagnosis to understand that normal conversation, normal discussions, even if they become heated, are still wanted. They're positive. They help us think. So I'm trying to say, don't hold back when you're speaking to somebody with dementia as though you're worried that you might hurt our feelings or whatever. Let's just be one-on-one and let's be true to ourselves.
Yeah. Appreciate what you're saying, Myrna, because I think nothing drives me more crazy about the whole tragedy narrative arc, and that's in terms of a lot of things, not just dementia, is people kind of end up being related to as the victim of something or something's happening to them. And I'm so glad you said what you said, because I think it's another way of relating to people living with, as if we can't make any demands on them, as if we can't, you know, involve them in ways, a whole host of ways. So I really support what you're saying. I don't think we should hold back. We can figure out how to move forward. Others.
I'm going to make the most.
Wait, who's going to make the most what?
That was Cheryl.
Oh, okay. Hi, Cheryl.
So this is probably the most naive comment of the day. I think the conversations have been really moving and creative and everything else. But I'd like to hear what you mean by campaign. It feels like a very concrete word, but I'm not sure if it is meant to be operational or mission. What do you mean by campaign?
Somebody want to? I mean, on one hand, we're going to create the meaning of the campaign as we go along as well. I mean, we really do everything in that spirit. It's not like we're kind of trying to fool people, but I don't know, Pia or others, you want to say a little bit more about what you think, and anyone can contribute. What do you think a campaign with a small c might be?
I think Susan.
Yeah, I was thinking that when we were talking about that there are people, a grouping of people, now 500 plus people, who have come together to that we are reimagining dementia, that it can be reimagined, that this is a thing in the world now, and there are many people that are responding to this kind of understanding that dementia is not simply the word dementia in a diagnostic category, and to break out of that and reimagining is a challenge to that.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I was thinking about the campaign as really an organized course of action, and not anything more than that. You know, we've accomplished quite a bit thus far, but I feel like we can leverage those achievements through this campaign and to really amplify the voice of the coalition, the messages. What are the central messages? What is it that we're trying to achieve? So to try to get that out there in a much more organized way. And I really love the idea of a song, this collective song being, you know, central to that, because I think that the importance of creativity has to be part of that message.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add real quick. Yeah, I think that that song element is going. It will become. Will achieve the mission of the campaign, which I really, my hope, my dream is that this campaign will give everyone perhaps not an intellectual sense of why they need to be a part of this movement, but will move them to action, some sort of action. And there was actually a really great suggestion made yesterday about having some well-defined call to action as part of this campaign. What do we want people to do? But I see this as a way to connect with people to whom this topic, these conversations, this movement is important, but just don't know that it's important to them yet. That they just haven't found their way to those stories. They don't know that they're allowed to think in that way, and this is their invitation to join us in that provocative and progressive mindset. I think you know, as you said, the song is
I think that's very powerful. I think today.
Great song.
Sorry, who's speaking?
It's Cheryl again, but I just
Cheryl,
want
okay.
to just add this, that I think we are incredibly, as a nation, as a world, maybe objective and scientific about this disease. So all the conversation today is about aducanumab, as though we are going to fix something that's very broken. And in fact, we don't even know if it will fix a small percentage of people. So the conversation, all the eyes now are, oh, we have been saved, as opposed to, oh, we know how to make lives warm and productive, creative, and all this. It's changing the conversation, I guess, is what I'm thinking about as campaign.
And bringing people into that conversation. So I think that the campaign is a way to reach more people with this work. And Casey, I really like what you said about, you know, about the song and what that might achieve for us. You know, I saw the campaign and the song as a really nice way to complement, for example, the academic article that we published. So we've published this great piece in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease about the coalition, but this is, I just think, a much more innovative way to reach more people and to engage them in this work.
I really appreciate what you're saying, Cheryl, about not trying to project the possibility or even the aspiration to fix things. I think that's I think it's a dead end path to go down, not because I wouldn't love for a lot of things to be fixed, but we don't have the tools right now to fix it. It's a little bit like going out to and trying to fix your, you know, car tire with a spoon. I mean, it's not, I'm being fairly literal. We need new kinds of tools and new ways of coming together. And I hope that way, if we could get this out and people can join us in getting it out, because the spirit, by the way, just to share a bit of the history of the coalition that people may not know, pretty much all that we've done has been pretty entrepreneurial. This is not a top-down, bureaucratically run organization. We're not making, I mean, we have a planning committee, we have people who have taken on the responsibility of moving us forward, But by and large, by entrepreneur, I mean, people say, hey, I want to do this. I mean, Pia made that article happen. It's not like I said, hey, Pia, we need an article. No, a lot of meetings have made things happen, and we move with that. So I'm hoping if we get this song out, people go, reimagining dementia. Let me take it that way. And maybe that transforms everything. I don't know. But at least it gives people a sense of, oh, in little ways, maybe I can reimagine something. Maybe do something a little different, and it begins to introduce possibility. And I think that if I've learned nothing as an organizer over these many years, is it's hard to transform anything if people don't believe it's possible. And I think that's an underappreciated aspect of life. You have to introduce and literally create possibility. And then I think people can move in whatever ways they're going to move. So I see that, just to add to what Pia and Casey and others were saying, I think that's closer to what this will be. I hope it's absolute chaos, honestly, but that's my feeling. I'm just speaking for me, not for everyone.
Well, Toby just put in the banners. I like the idea of banners hanging all over Manchester.
But yeah, thanks, Susan. Yeah, some of you may have seen them, and Holly obviously has, but they were created by different groups of people living with dementia across the UK to express. I mean, some of them kind of they're dual banners. Some show the difficulties of living with dementia and the challenges that society can create. And then the second banner by the same group shows how much better life could be. And so, although they're quite focused around, in a way, it's political things with a small p around rights to inclusion, rights to be able to use public transport, and so on and so forth. They're beautiful, beautiful objects. They're in the tradition of British trade unionism, which has these massive banners when the trade unions used to exist in a meaningful way, or powerful way in this country. And you'd see them on marches, and they'd be maybe 10, 15 feet high. And these banners are a similar size, and they're beautifully made objects. So a great example, in my view, of sort of the power and beauty of creativity produced by people with dementia, with a really strong and effective message as well. So yeah, I'm not sure it'd be easy to decide what banner for the coalition, but maybe several banners with lots of people contributing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sorry,
Holly, and maybe was there someone else besides Holly? Sorry, Holly.
I just wanted to add to what Toby was saying. They are absolutely wonderful, and they also included many diverse ethnic groups as well. I think that's one thing that we're very keen to include in this work as well. I've been doing a lot of work with musicians from different ethnic backgrounds with a view to doing more music and dementia related work. So I think if we can get some involvement from diverse groups in this activity as well, I'm really up for that. So yeah.
So one big question is that comes to mind is this, when it's finalized and completed, is it going to have a copyright? I mean,
well, it should. I don't know the legal things in that, but yeah, it would be, we would do whatever we would need to make it our song. I mean, it'll be, we're not, I suppose we would. I don't know all the considerations, but we'll look into it. I mean, I think it's an important issue.
Yeah, because what I was thinking was, then you could take the song to your different groups. I belong to several choirs. They're very creative.
Exactly.
And carry it on, small bits, move along, and it spreads out. But I think initially we need to think about, is it going to have a copyright, and then do we move on to, covers that people do, etc., and all that kind of thing. But because it's quite a good creation, it's really amazing, wonderful sounds.
Yes, it is, and it's going to be, I think, even really, really, really gooder. All righty. Well, actually, we're coming to an end. As we always do, we're going to just to kind of, we've been sitting for a while, so we always play ourselves out with a little movement and a little music. So thank you, everyone, so much. Believe me, we're going to be coming back to all of you. you are activists in this unless you tell us otherwise. So you can feel free to say, no, I don't want to do it, but otherwise we're coming to you. You'll be hearing from us. All right, Paula, play us out.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here. You can take a break.
Let it go.
Hot air balloon that could go to space.
And as you drop out, have a great day. Thank you for joining us. And if you join us again tomorrow, or let folks know there's another meeting tomorrow.
Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. If you feel like happiness